Welcome everybody to Sin City Living. My name is Jason and I'll be bringing you today's episode. As always, please hit those like and subscribe buttons. We have a ton of content for you guys coming out every single week, every single day generally. Occasionally miss a day like I did during the rodeo that is still ongoing right now. And I hope all of our patrons out there are appreciating the patron-only exclusive videos we're putting out with the dice class, putting one out every couple of weeks. And if you're curious about that, go ahead and check the description down below. Once I get this whole live stream thing figured out, I'm probably going to do a live stream on the patron site as well. One on the regular site, one on the patron site. I do have the new computer for it. Theoretically, I have everything ready. I'm just so busy currently with this rodeo. And one of our fans asked a question a little while back about ways to tip us, to show appreciation to us without having to sign up as one of our patrons. And at the time we did not have any way of doing it, but I have managed now to get us signed up with a site called Buy Me a Coffee. As I'm sure some of you guys have noticed from some of our videos, Louie and I are both pretty heavy coffee drinkers. So if you're curious about that as well, go ahead and check down below in the description as well. We would definitely appreciate any cups of coffee you're willing to pick up for us. And don't forget to email us with any strategies, questions, suggestions, anything at all. We love shooting those videos for you guys. I actually haven't gotten a new email in about 2 weeks. And also, don't forget, anybody that may be interested in one of the small Sin City Living neons that we have, just email us that as well, sincitylivingLV@gmail.com. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and get into today's episode. I'm covering something on craps once again, and I'm going to cover an interesting, kind of fun way of playing, an interesting little strategy that I've come across. This is another one, like a lot of the strategies, that it doesn't matter what the point may be. We're going to set the point as a 9. Now this strategy, we're only dealing with the 6 and 8. So what you're going to do is we're going to place the 6 and we're going to place the 8 for $30 a piece. All we're trying to do here is we're trying to hit either one of them 3 times. Not both combined. We don't want to hit an 8 and then 2 6s. We want to hit 3 6s or 3 8s. Okay? That's all we're trying to do. 3 times. We have a $60 buy-in at this point. So what'll happen is, let's say the 6 were to roll. So if the 6 rolls, it gets paid $35. Player is going to throw in $1 and stack everything up. We're going to go from $30 to $66. Okay, that's the first hit. It is hit once. So it hits again. This pays $77. The player is once again throwing in $1, and we're going to stack everything up. What we've got here is we have $144 6. Okay. So now it is hit 2 times. 2 times. We've gone from 30 to 144. Our total outlay at the moment, $62. Okay. No matter what may happen, even if this one were to hit a couple more times, our total outlay is only going to be at most $64. $64 total. If, say, the 8 hits, throw $1 in, stack it all up, 8 hits again, we're going to throw another $1 in, stack it all up. So at this point we're in $64 total, and we still haven't collected yet, because what we want is that 3rd hit. That 3rd hit is where it gets fun, because that 3rd hit, we're going to want to come down. So let's say the 6 rolls. We say, take us down. Take us down. Well, by itself, it's going to pay $168. 144 pays $166. But when we say take us down, what we end up with is $312 and down. We'll show it to you nice and slow. $312. 312 and down. Off our $64 total, or $62 if we never once had a single 8 hit. We are $312 and down. Interesting, fun little strategy that I've seen. We'll of course leave the 8 up, hoping that 8 hits again, in which case we go to 312 and down as well. If this were to occur, that's how I would play it. I would take this one down, and then if this one hits, I would take this one down. But there's other ways to play it as well. Once the first one hits, you may say take everything down and give me 27 across, or 32 across, including the point, and then just go with one of the other strategies that we've done, say the mid-press method, or even the power press method. At this point, you're up, even if you only one of them hit. Say you do your 312 and down on the 6, and you say take my 8 down as well. Doesn't matter what the 8 is. 8 could be at 30, could be at 66, could be at 144. Doesn't really matter. At that point, we take it down. We're good to go. I've actually seen this method played a couple of times, and it's not going to be a super huge swing for the fences, let's see if we can't win every chip that's on the table kind of strategy, but it is a fun strategy. The ones that I've seen play this, they have a blast with this because they're really rooting for that 6, and it's a lot of fun, and it does confuse the dealers at first, not because these are hard bets, but because they're kind of uncommon bets. When you have a $30 6 and it pays and they throw $1 in, this one's kind of obvious for us. We just stack it all the way up to 66. But then when it pays 77, the player throws $1 in and says stack it all up. Generally it's gonna make the dealer pause for a second and look at it to make sure it's proper. Just because, not that it's a hard bet, but because it's one that we don't see very often. In fact, we almost never see this. But once we get into the swing of things, even the dealers are like, hey, that's kind of cool. There is a slight variation you can do on it as well, which is when you're at 66 and it pays that 77. Instead of throwing $1 in, you could also throw $7 in. Now at this point you're in for a little bit more, but it's just going to make it easier because it's going to bring you up to 150, which is a very common, very standard type of bet here. And some players don't like to be collecting all this white and red and all that. A lot of players like to get to where they're only collecting blacks and greens. And then if this hits for that third time, it's going to pay 175. So we'll pay 200 for a quarter. And this time it'll be 325 and down. Just all black and green. A little bit easier, maybe a little bit prettier, I suppose. Only black and green, but this is a fun strategy. I've seen it a few times. I'll be honest, I don't see it hit super often because dice is a very, very streaky game. Do 6s and 8s, do they roll 3 times before a 7 out? Absolutely. Does it happen all the time? Absolutely not. I've seen people buy in with $500 and play this strategy, and 45 minutes later walk away from the table with nothing. I've also seen people buy in with $200 and hit it on their second try. So remember, your outlay for this is $64, $64 or $62, either one, depending. But between $62 to $64, and you don't collect. So every single roll you were losing $62 to $64 unless you hit your 312 and down, or 325 and down, however you want to do it. You at no point collect. So there is no point where you're adding a couple extra rolls to what you're doing. You're just losing your $60-something every single time unless it hits that third time. If it hits that third time, now you're collecting your 312 and down. So think about it, you basically need to hit this 1 in 5 rolls just to break even. So this is going to be a streaky type of play. You definitely want to catch it when it's streaky. And like any other strategy, guys, when you're ahead, take your winnings and go. Don't keep chasing the bigger and bigger ahead, because that's how you give it all back. I actually just saw that last night. Guy won about $1,500 in a couple of lucky hits, and then what did he do? He quadrupled the size of his bets and gave it all back within 15 minutes. So when you hit something like this, 312 and down, play a couple more hands, but what you should do is set yourself a backstop. If you're up, say $300, say, okay, I'm only going to play $200 more. And if I lose it, I lose it, and I walk away, I'm still up. Give yourself a backstop when you're ahead so that you're still walking away with some money. We like to see people win. We like to see people walk away with money. And like I said, once you do your down, that's when you then go decide you want to do an across method, a mid-press method, a power press method. Maybe you just start doing the pass line, or maybe you start doing come bets. Regardless of whatever your method is, you're still playing, you're still in the game, and if the roll happens to be a hot roll, fantastic. Go for it. Why not? What can it hurt? Now, you could also play this the other direction. You could do a 5 and a 9. We'll just set up on the 9 as an example. You can do the 5 and a 9. So for this one, 25 pays 35. Now the same thing. Throw in $1. Throw in $1, go up to 61. Reason for that? That dollar, yes, it does make it improper, but now this 61, right? Yeah, 61 is going to pay $85. So you're not going to keep adding on more white. So that's the first hit on the 9. So the next hit on the 9, it's going to pay $85. You just tell them to take you to 120. Take your dollar back. I'm sorry, not 120. You're going to go to 145. So now it is hit twice, right? So what does 145 pay? Well, 150 would pay 210. So this is going to pay 203. Okay, 145 will pay 203. So if it hits again, if it hits that third time, you're going to get paid, and you're going to say take it down. So just like the 6 or 8, you're only looking for 3 hits. Now, if you get those 3 hits, you are 348 and down. 348 and down off a $25 initial buy, or 50 if you're on both numbers. Like I said, this isn't a super complex method. It's not a really tricky strategy. It's not a strategy that takes a lot of thought, takes a lot of effort. It's not hugely exciting like going across, power pressing, mid pressing, where every number you're collecting some, you're adding some, you're just pumping it up, and cheering for every roll of the dice. No, this is more of a kind of a more sedate, smaller, targeted strategy. If you look at it, you've got a decent amount on the table. I mean, if you're doing $30 6 and 8 for $60, or you're doing $25 5 and 9 for $50, you have more on the table to start with than your 27 across, or even your 54 across or 52 across player. Only they have every number, but they have every number at a lower level. You are focusing in on two numbers, and trying to jack them up quick, but not trying to go super heavy. Three hits and down, it's a reasonable mid-level compromise. Again, not going to happen super often, but when it does, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. It's going to make the dealer smile. It's going to make the box smile, because it's a strategy we don't see super often, and it is kind of a fun strategy. You start rooting for that number to hit. We are more likely to be internally rooting for your $144 6 than we are for somebody's $10 5. It's just, we like to see this kind of stuff. We like to see this kind of stuff hit. We like to see clever little strategies, as long as they make sense. And I mean, every strategy, the house has the advantage. So of course, all strategies have things that are against them, but there's a lot of strategies we see that make absolutely zero sense. This is one that does kind of make some sense. Makes a little bit of sense. It's kind of fun. It can be a good time. So I just thought we'd throw this strategy at you, see if you were interested in it. Give it a try. Let us know how it goes in the comments if you're out in Vegas or any other casino that has craps in any other states. And thank you for watching, YouTube. Catch you next. So, as I promised, I wanted to go over very briefly our upcoming attempts at a third third test live stream. So what's happened so far? The first test live stream just flat didn't work. The problem that I had was was an equipment problem. I had an equipment problem in that the equipment that I was using to translate the camera into streamable video to the computer required a better USB port than the computer I was using at the time. So that one just flat failed because it would not translate into the computer. The computer would not pick it up, would not read it, so I wasn't able to live stream it. So then, as I was looking through, because I'm a little bit of a tech head, as I was looking through all of my other stuff, because I do have 4 laptops here and 3 computers, I did find one that actually did have the newer style USB port. Unfortunately, it was actually my oldest laptop, but I figured, what the heck, let me give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? And this time around, when I fired everything up, the video was actually translating onto the computer, so things were looking better. But then when I attempted to live stream, the computer was not powerful enough to be able to translate it and then upload it sufficiently. So it basically just uploaded a blank screen for the live stream. So what I am going to have to do is, and I'm already looking into all of my options, I'm going to upgrade my computer so I can add, what, a 7th, 8th computer to my household. And I'm going to go much, much higher, and I'm going to get a computer that is far more than I need for this, far, far, far more powerful than I need for this. That way, any future upgrades that I may do, the computer will be able to handle it. So unfortunately, this computer is going to cost me about 25% more, about 25% of what I've already laid out in all the equipment for this channel. So it wasn't something I could just instantly buy. I'm probably looking at Black Friday or Cyber Monday. So hopefully I have it within the next couple of weeks, and then I'll do another test live stream and see if I can go from there. So I will definitely do at least one weekly live stream on our Patreon because they're the ones that are really helping us get this computer. And the other equipment that I'm going to get, because I figure if I'm buying the computer, I might as well buy the most high-end capture cards and things along those lines, get everything as good as possible, and then hopefully eventually get a better microphone for you guys. So yeah, that's where we stand on the live stream. As soon as I have the computer and I do the test, which will be in a few weeks, like I said, got to order it in a week or two, then I have to wait for it to ship. Plus, we have probably the biggest event of the year coming up, the NFR National Finals Rodeo. So I'm basically working 2 weeks straight, as is my wife. So not going to have a whole lot of time. But once we get all that under control, then we'll figure out. There's been some schedule changes to myself, some schedule changes to my wife, and some upcoming schedule changes to my wife as well. So hopefully we can get all the scheduling figured out, so I know when I'll be able to live stream as well. My initial plan of Thursdays at 6 o'clock is already out the window. I'm at work at that point now. So we will get it all figured out, and we will let you guys know, I promise. And otherwise, I hope you guys have found this interesting, enlightening, illuminating, or at least just plain fun. And we will catch you guys next time. Bye now.